Thank you for watching Inspire Math videos. Today we're going to study how to add and subtract fractions. We want to point out the wrong calculation first. Let's consider a simple addition of 1/2 and 1/2. You may think this is just an addition, so we can just add the numerator and denominators, 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2, and 2 plus 2, which is equal to 4. So the answer is 2 over 4. If we divide both numerator and denominator by 2, we get the equivalent fraction 1 over 2. Obviously, 1/2 plus another half does not equal to 1/2. This calculation does not make sense. So you can't simply add both numerator and denominators to get the right answer. So how can we actually add fractions? If you think of them as pizzas, adding 1/2 pizza and another 1/2 pizza makes 2 1/2 pizzas, which is just one whole pizza. Take a look at the answer 2 over 2. The number 2 can be found by adding both numerators, and the denominator stays the same. In this case, 2 over 2 can be simplified by dividing both by 2, and get 1 over 1, which means 1 out of 1. This means it's just 1. You only need to add the numerators, and the denominator stays the same. When adding fractions with the same denominator, it is quite simple to calculate how we add. You just need to add the numerator and leave the denominator the same. Let's move to the general case of adding fractions. How can we add fractions with different denominators? It's actually quite simple. We must change both denominators to be the same, which is called the common denominator. Do you remember how to get equivalent fractions? We can always multiply or divide by the same number to both the numerator and the denominator. In this question, 1/2 plus 2 over 5, we can multiply both denominators by each other to get the common denominator. So multiplying by 5 to both the denominator and the numerator of 1 over 2, we get 5 over 10. Likewise, multiplying by 2 to both the denominator and the numerator of 2 over 5, we get 4 over 10. We now have the same denominator of 10. So we just need to add the numerators, 5 plus 4, which is 9. The denominator stays the same as 10. The diagram looks like this. A quick summary of adding fractions. We must change fractions to equivalent fractions with a common denominator. Then add the numerators only, and the denominator stays the same. Now let's move to subtractions. Subtractions are just like addition. We need to make the denominators the same by changing them to equivalent fractions with the common denominator. In this example, 3 over 4 minus 1 over 3, we can multiply both denominators by each other to get the common denominator. So multiplying 3 to both the denominator and the numerator of 3 over 4, we get 9 over 12. Likewise, multiplying by 4 to both the denominator and the numerator of 1 over 3, we get 4 over 12. We now have the same denominator, so we just need to subtract 4 from 9 to get 5. The denominator stays the same as 12. The diagram looks like this. A quick summary of subtracting fractions. Change fractions to equivalent fractions with the common denominator. Then, only subtract the numerator, and the denominator stays the same. Let's try some questions. Question number 1. 5 over 6 minus 3 over 4. Check the denominators, 6 and 4. You could find the lowest common multiple of 6 and 4, but for now, we will just multiply the denominators by each other. This leads to the multiplication of 4 to the denominator 6 and the numerator 5, and you get 20 over 24. Likewise, we multiply 6 to the denominator 4 and the numerator 3, and you get 18 over 24. The calculation for the numerator is simply 20 minus 18, which is 2, and the denominator stays the same as 24. Since the denominator and the numerator of 2 over 24 can be divided by 2, a simpler form of this fraction is an equivalent fraction of 1 over 12. Question number 2. 2 over 3 plus 5 over 6. You could multiply the denominators by each other to get equivalent fractions. But in this case, if you take a look at both denominators, we can multiply the denominator 3 by 2 to have the same denominator of 6. So we multiplied the numerator 2 by 2 to get 2 over 6. So we get 4 over 6 plus 5 over 6. Then we calculate 4 plus 5 to get the numerator 9. And the denominator stays the same as 6. We now have 9 over 6, but it is not simple enough. We can divide both numerator and the denominator by the common factor of 3. So we get the simplest form of an equivalent fraction 3 over 2. It is an improper fraction. For the people who prefer mixed numbers, let's change it to a mixed number. We consider how many 2 can fit into 3. We get 1 2's in a 3. So we subtract 2 times 1 from 3 to get 1. The denominator stays the same, so the answer is 1 and 1/2. Let's summarize today's lesson for adding or subtracting fractions. First of all, check both numerators. If you have the same denominator, you don't need to change anything. If they are not the same, multiply denominators by each other to get the common denominator. Remember to multiply the same number to both the numerator and the denominator to get equivalent fractions. Once you have a common denominator, you just need to add or subtract the numerator for addition or subtraction. For addition or subtraction, the denominator stays the same. Here are some challenge questions. Try them out. Sample solutions are linked under the video. Press Show More below the video and find its link. Hope you can solve them. Thank you for watching Inspire Math videos. Please subscribe if you'd like to join your Inspire Math tutoring community. There are some related videos linked below. Thank you and have a good one.